Hey everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal, and in this video I'm going to share some information with you on hawthorn and cardamom. Now the information I share with you is not meant to be medical advice. This is meant to entertain and educate you only. It is based on my own research, my own experience, and is purely my own opinion. So when it comes to taking care of your health, especially when it comes to your blood pressure, please make sure that you see a qualified healthcare practitioner. So the reason I put these two plants together in the same video is because of their ability and their well-known researched factors in their ability to go after high blood pressure. So let's start with hawthorn. Now hawthorn is a hardy shrubby plant that is easy to grow. You can put it in your yard, you can put it in your flower garden, and the parts of the plant you use are the berries, the flowers, and the leaves. So typically you can make a tincture or a tea if you're going to supplement with hawthorn. That's the most common. You can also get hawthorn in capsule form, and typically what they do is they use the dried powdered berries, and it's put into supplement in the capsule form. But it is very common to have hawthorn in a tea or have hawthorn in a tincture. Now the cool thing about hawthorn, especially because it's so well known, is it's really delicious, and the berries are used in jellies, jams. You can make a hawthorn syrup, and you can actually bake with the berries in like breads and muffins. Super common. So you might be using hawthorn berries in your baking and your cooking simply because they're delicious, maybe without realizing all of the crazy, amazing medicinal properties of the hawthorn plant. So hawthorn is really well known for its ability to improve your cardiovascular health. In fact, I've got a quick little list here. So it supports cardiovascular function. It basically improves coronary artery blood flow, which helps to improve your heart's pumping capacity. So think about that. And it reduces the risk of heart disease. And this is actually one of the really beautiful many reasons to add hawthorn into your diet. It reduces blood pressure because it can help to dilate your blood vessels. And it's got powerful antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. It's also really good for digestion. And if you notice with a lot of plants, they almost all have digestive properties to them, even if it's slight. You know, most plants are also high in antioxidants, and so they can scavenge those free radicals. So I would say that if this is something that you're considering putting in your flower garden, it would be a fun way to experiment by adding it into your diet, right? Now the second thing that I am going to add into this video is cardamom. Now this one is not as easy to grow in your garden because it needs to have humidity, it needs to have heat, but luckily cardamom is really easy to get. Now the part of the plant you use are the seeds, and they grow in these beautiful seed pods. Now cardamom is really well known in like Middle Eastern cooking and Indian dishes because it's got such an exotic flavor. Now there's some things that you might not know about cardamom, and you might just be enjoying cardamom because of its delicious taste. And one of my favorite things is actually cardamom tea. And I don't know if you've ever tried that, but it's absolutely delicious. Now cardamom is, in a quick nutshell, great for digestive health. It's got anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties, blood pressure regulation, respiratory health, heart health, and cardamom has been recently studied for its anti-cancer properties. Now here's something you might not realize about cardamom. It has properties that are really good for your oral health. In fact, I like to do this with a clove and with a cardamom seed. And you can I don't do both at the same time, but I do one or the other. And you take a cardamom seed, a dried one typically, because if you buy them in the store, they're going to be little hard dried seeds. Pop it in your mouth. Just let it roll around in your mouth. It'll soften up. You can kind of chew on it softly with your teeth. And what you might not realize that it's doing is it has powerful antibacterial properties that make it really good for your oral health. In fact, I have a little baggie in my hiking pack that has a few cardamom seeds and a few cloves. And they're just whole cloves and little whole cardamom seeds. And when I'm hiking, which in the summer is 2 or 3, 4 times a week, I will take a little seed or a clove, pop it in my mouth, and just kind of suck on it, chew on it, let it soften up. And not only does it taste good, but I can literally feel my mouth get fresh. And it's just so good for oral health. So cardamom is really easy to add in the form of a tea. You can add it in smoothies, and of course you can cook with it. Now, there's some really good tips that I wanted to add into this for high blood pressure, because to me, this is a really prevalent thing. There are so many people on medications, and I think that there are some lifestyle things that we all know about and that we can have control over our blood pressure. So think about this. Exercise regularly, eat a healthy diet, limit the amount of alcohol you drink. Many of you know that I have been on an alcohol-free binge instead of an alcohol binge. This is being recorded the first part of July, and last November was my last sip of alcohol. I had a glass of wine, and then I just kind of decided I need to see how I would feel if I went alcohol-free. So I wasn't doing it to lower my blood pressure. I was just doing it because I wanted to know, how is my brain feel? How am I going to sleep? Am I just having a drink of wine every night so that I could kind of bring my mood down? You know, there's all kinds of reasons to play around with that. But limit your alcohol consumption if you have issues with high blood pressure. Of course, lose weight. Even 5 or 10 pounds can make a huge difference in blood pressure regulation. Disconnect from your technology and lower your stress. You know, I mean, that's easier said than done in today's modern world, right? So those are all some of the best tips for keeping your blood pressure in a really good place. Now, the interesting thing is I believe that the genetic predisposition for high blood pressure is actually really, really tiny. I think it's a fallback. I think we use it to fall back on, oh, it's in my genes. And for a very small amount of people, that might be true. But I think for the huge, vast majority of us, it might be easier to say, oh, it's genetic, and just maybe take a medication. But I believe that if we put in the work and we put in the education, we start educating ourselves, following some of these lifestyle habits, get our weight under control, get our stress under control. Because many people have heard that when you go to the doctor and you're stressed about something, even just going to the doctor can raise your blood pressure. So it almost can be like a false, you have high blood pressure because your blood pressure is up because you're stressed about going to the doctor. So this is something that's very common. We've all heard that. Here's some things, herbs that are also good for high blood pressure. Now, the reason I want to bring this up is because we actually take hawthorn and we use all three. We use the berries, the flowers, and the leaves, and the cardamom seeds, and we put them into a very powerful tincture. We call this BP support. And not only do we put those two herbs, but we have garlic, black cumin seed, and celery seed. And I will tell you, when you take this, the flavors are so good because it's like you're taking something that these are almost all foods. So think about, in fact, they all are foods: black cumin seed, celery seed, garlic, cardamom, and hawthorn. All can be considered foods. And we tincture all of these in just the perfect amounts and put them into a beautiful blend called BP Support. We've actually had this out for 5 or 6 years, a long time. So it's got a lot of beautiful use, and proof is in the pudding with some of these things, right? Now, some of the other things that I love for blood pressure are hibiscus, and you might have heard of this. Hibiscus is really delicious as a tea, and again, super easy to get. In fact, I'll put a link to my favorite place to get many of the different teas, and you can get hibiscus tea from the place I'm going to put below this video. Olive leaf extract, beetroot, and of course omega-3 fatty acids in the form of fish oil is really good for your blood pressure. So let's kind of just tie this back up with hawthorn and cardamom. When you take a look at these powerful plants that you can have easy access to, and you start to incorporate them into your dietary plan, as far as cook with them, make things with them, drink teas made out of them. You know, take a cardamom seed, pop it in your mouth when you're on your daily walk. And the benefits will start to expand and they'll start to compound. So if you have anything that would layer on top of this and add to some of the beautiful health benefits of hawthorn or cardamom, I would love to hear what they are in the comments. Maybe there's something I left out. It seems like there's always many more things. There's lots of research, but I'd love to hear what you think on these two plants and how they've benefited you. So thanks so much for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.